Coastal Climate Change Vulnerability Assessment. Title: Coastal Climate Change Vulnerability Assessment, a crucial tool for resilient coastal communities. Introduction. The Earth's climate is undergoing rapid and unprecedented changes due to various human activities, primarily the emission of greenhouse gases. Among the most affected regions are the world's coastlines, where rising sea levels, increased storm intensity, and coastal erosion pose significant threats. Coastal communities, home to a large proportion of the global population, are particularly vulnerable to these climate-induced changes. To effectively address these challenges and plan for a sustainable future, Coastal Climate Change Vulnerability Assessment (CCCVA) has emerged as a crucial tool. This article delves into the importance of CCCVA, its key components, and its role in building resilient coastal communities. Understanding coastal vulnerability. Coastal vulnerability refers to the susceptibility of a coastal area to the adverse impacts of climate change, including sea level rise, storm surge, erosion, and flooding. Vulnerability is influenced by a complex interplay of physical, ecological, socioeconomic, and institutional factors. Coastal communities, often reliant on marine resources and tourism, are at risk of losing livelihoods, infrastructure, and cultural heritage as a result of climate change impacts. Recognizing this, CCCVA plays a pivotal role in assessing the unique vulnerabilities of each coastal region. Key components of Coastal Climate Change Vulnerability Assessment. 1. Physical characteristics and hazards. Assessing the physical characteristics of a coastline is fundamental in understanding its vulnerability. This includes analyzing sea level rise projections, storm surge potential, coastal erosion rates, and the presence of natural barriers such as dunes and wetlands. By comprehending these factors, planners can identify areas at highest risk and implement appropriate adaptation measures. 2. Ecological vulnerability. Coastal ecosystems, such as mangroves, coral reefs, and salt marshes, provide a natural defense against climate-induced hazards. CCCVA evaluates the health and resilience of these ecosystems, determining their capacity to absorb and mitigate the impacts of climate change. Preserving or restoring these ecosystems can significantly enhance a community's resilience. 3. Socioeconomic and community aspects. The socioeconomic fabric of a coastal community shapes its vulnerability. CCCVA examines demographic data, income levels, infrastructure, access to healthcare and education, and the existence of social safety nets. By understanding the socioeconomic context, planners can identify vulnerable groups and prioritize their needs in adaptation strategies. 4. Governance and institutional capacity. Effective governance and institutional capacity are vital for implementing and sustaining adaptation efforts. CCCVA assesses the strength of local governance structures, policies, and regulations related to land use, disaster preparedness, and climate adaptation. A robust governance framework enhances a community's ability to respond to and recover from climate-related shocks. The role of CCCVA in building resilient coastal communities. 1. Informed decision-making. CCCVA provides essential information to policymakers, local authorities, and community members. It enables them to make informed decisions about where to invest resources, prioritize infrastructure upgrades, and develop comprehensive climate adaptation plans. 2. Tailored adaptation strategies. no two coastal communities are the same. CCCVA allows for the development of tailored adaptation strategies that address the specific vulnerabilities of each region. Whether it's building seawalls, relocating infrastructure, or implementing sustainable coastal management practices, customized approaches are more effective in building resilience. 3. Engaging stakeholders. CCCVA promotes community engagement and participatory planning. By involving local stakeholders in the assessment process, it ensures that the concerns and needs of the community are integrated into adaptation strategies. This collaborative approach fosters ownership and increases the likelihood of successful implementation. 4. Securing funding. Many adaptation projects require significant financial resources. CCCVA provides the data needed to secure funding from international organizations, government agencies, and private sector entities. A well-documented vulnerability assessment enhances a community's eligibility for climate financing and grants. Challenges and limitations. While CCCVA offers invaluable insights, it also faces certain challenges and limitations. These include 1. Data availability and quality. Conducting a comprehensive vulnerability assessment requires reliable and up-to-date data. In many regions, especially developing countries, data gaps and inconsistencies can hinder the accuracy of the assessment. 2. Complex interactions. Coastal vulnerability is influenced by a myriad of interconnected factors. Assessing these complex interactions can be challenging, and there's a risk of oversimplification. 3. Long-term projections. CCCVA often relies on future climate projections, which are subject to uncertainty. Overestimating or underestimating the severity of climate impacts can lead to misguided adaptation strategies. 4. Resource constraints. Conducting a thorough vulnerability assessment requires technical expertise, financial resources, and time. Many communities, particularly those with limited resources, may struggle to undertake such assessments. Case study: the Maldives. The Maldives, an archipelago nation in the Indian Ocean, is a poignant example of a country highly vulnerable to climate change. With its low-lying islands and dependence on tourism and fisheries, the Maldives faces threats from sea level rise, storm surges, and coral reef degradation. Recognizing the urgency, the Maldivian government, with international support, conducted a comprehensive CCCVA. Conclusion. Coastal climate change vulnerability assessment plays an indispensable role in building resilient coastal communities. While challenges exist, the benefits of conducting a vulnerability assessment far outweigh the drawbacks. As climate change continues to reshape our world, CCCVA stands as a vital tool in safeguarding our coastal communities and ensuring a sustainable future for generations to come. Future directions and recommendations. These platforms could streamline data collection and analysis, facilitating more comprehensive and up-to-date assessments. 2. Capacity building. Many communities, particularly those in developing countries, lack the technical expertise required to conduct CCCVA.